What's up, guys? My name's Chris Warrens, and I'm the owner of Warrior Time, full-time luxury watch dealer since 2017. And today, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't buy watches from just anyone. Here are a couple reasons why, which we're going to dive into pretty deep. But to run it down quick, first, authenticity, being stolen, aftermarket parts, and service on the back end. So starting with number one, what I say is shop the dealer, not the watch, to minimize authenticity issues. For instance, wholesalers who have become popular specifically because of TikTok and social media often will drop ship a watch making $100, $200 per watch and not inspect the watch before you get it because they're making so little money, or also considered cheap. Unfortunately, TikTok has kind of Hollywoodized and popularized our industry, specifically for the 47th Street look. And unfortunately, a lot of what you see is not true, and there's a lot of problems that typically come out of that area of New York. Now, not all people on 47th Street, but unfortunately many. There are really good dealers down on 47th Street. Many of us, the good dealers, take hours to process one watch, to take the time to look at the movement, to check the serial number, to check bracelets, to see how the watch is working, and very thorough with the inspection, which minimizes authenticity issues. So number two is potential of it being stolen. I was just talking about, speaking of running serial numbers, good dealers, we source our pieces from trusted sources and run the serial number to ensure the watch is clean, meaning it's not stolen and it's real. Naked pieces, referred to as watches without cards or papers, have a higher probability of being stolen. Also, when you check a serial number, you can see what the original dial and or bezel was on the watch. And something in our industry that's very common is swapped dials, swapped bezels, commanding higher value, like taking a basic Submariner and making it look like a Hulk, or taking a plain Jane Datejust with maybe a white dial and putting a green dial in it, and it commands more value. Number three is aftermarket parts. Now, this probably sounds terrible, but often aftermarket parts come out of New York, out of 47th Street. Not all, but many. Bracelets are tough to spot. Aftermarket bracelets look very good, and aftermarket bracelets are marginal in value comparison to originals. Same with crowns, pushers, and boxes. Not to mention pieces on the movements. It's very common to find neo-vintage and vintage pieces that have aftermarket pieces just because of their age. So aftermarket stuff is super common and unfortunately is sadly plaguing our industry. Number four, and something that really isn't talked about in our industry, is the service on the back end. This point is rampant, and this is why I tell you to shop the dealer. Listen, I'm in all the dealer chats, and the level and quality of customer service is almost non-existent in our industry. But if you do research on dealers, speak to their clients, do due diligence, you'll know if they'll help you after they make the sale with issues or problems. For example, we recently sold a Breitling to a new customer, and he got the watch and didn't understand how the leather bracelet worked or sat on his wrist correctly. Brand new customer, we have no relationship with them. And we took the time over the course of several days to talk him through how to understand the watch that he bought, how to understand how the leather bracelet's going to age and bend a little bit rather than being stiff. Another example, I think it was last year, we sold a 16233 date just to a friend of mine, and several months into him having it, he had a problem. It stopped working. So the team and I troubleshot it with him and got video from him and walked him through how to get it to work again and so on and so forth. See, the thing is, those two examples are almost non-existent in our industry. And unfortunately, service on the back end is just something that's not really seen. And people, good dealers, good teams get a lot of pushback on maybe being a little bit more expensive. For instance, if you're going to come buy a brand new Submariner from us, we're going to sell it to you for $14,500. But big counter that we get is, well, we can get it on 47th Street for $13,750, saving me, $750. And what we always say is, well, will they pick up the phone after the sale? Are they going to help you? Will they work with you after the sale? You have to remember that cheap people provide cheap service. Now, I'm not singling out anyone. I'm not saying 47th Street, just using it as an example because TikTok has made the street famous in our industry. We do have vendors on 47th Street. We have two really good vendors and they're amazing, but they're not cheap. So always remember, shop the dealer. Are they real? Are they authentic? Are they easy to work with? That's the key in why you don't just buy from anyone. All right, to close things out, if you want to learn how to work with us, links are in the show notes below. Before you go, I'd love to hear your feedback on this review and what you think of the review. And if you haven't hit the like button and hit subscribe, please do. And know that most importantly, out of everything, we appreciate you and we'll catch you next time. Peace.